we, at one point, Miss Reed was very upset, and one of the officers thought it would be best if maybe she went and just sat in one of the cruisers for a little bit, because she was just doing a lot of screaming and yelling, and I think they were just trying to, get, work on John and make the scene a little less chaotic. So I went into the back of the car with her, and Kerry Roberts came over, and then we all were just sat in the back of the, Karen and I kind of were scrunched and sitting in the back, and Kerry was at the door of the cruiser.
Why did you get in the car with the defendant?
She was crying. She asked me to get in. We held hands. We prayed. She did have blood on her hands, and she said, could I have gotten my period? Who's going to take care of the kids? She just kind of was all over the place. And then at one point, we saw them moving John towards the ambulance. And at that point, Miss Reed started yelling to Miss Roberts, go check on him. Are they working on him? Is he dead? Is he dead? And at that point, myself and Miss Reed got out of the car, and she started yelling and pulling on me to Google hypothermia and Google how long it takes for somebody, to die in the cold.
When the defendant first asked you to Google an inquiry about hypothermia, were you still inside the police cruiser, or were you outside?
Outside.
What was the weather? I know it's an obvious question, but how cold was it?
It was very cold, windy. The snow was blowing. As I stated, I have multiple sclerosis, so when I am out in either extremely hot or cold temperatures, I lose the feeling and sensation in my fingers, which obviously made the Googling very hard for me to do because of my, motor skills.
So when you were outside of the car with the defendant and she had asked you to do a search regarding hypothermia, did you try to do that?
Yes, I did.
Do you know the exact time from your memory? Not from reading or learning, but from your memory. Do you remember the exact time you did that?
No.
Was it after the police came that morning?
Yes.
Had you ever attempted to search about hypothermia any time before that moment, that morning?
No.
Or that day?
No.
That week?
No.
Was this the first time that morning after the defendant asked you to search that you searched that phrase?
Yes, it was.
And did you complete your search and get a result?
So I don't know what came up, because I think as I entered it, I think I misspelled things. And so then I think I tried a second search. And again, I don't think I even paid attention to what came up, because we were already on to the next thing. Karen was already moving and screaming about, the next thing to Kerry. Are they working on him? Is he dead?
Did the defendant move somewhere from the point when she first asked you to try to Google about hypothermia to something else?
She was next to me, and then I think she took off. Like, she kept kind of running off.
And what did you do?
I believe as they were I think I stood there, I believe as they were putting John into the ambulance, I went back kind of to the original spot where we had been talking to the police. And at that point, a new officer might have come, because I remember talking to multiple officers there.
At some point, did you go back towards the area of Miss Roberts' car?
Yes, that's where I'm referring to, sorry.
At some point, were you with the defendant when she spoke to an officer and a first responder?
Yes.
Do you remember if the first responder was a man or a woman?
I remember there was a woman right next to us, yes.
Do you remember if that was before or after the defendant asked you to search about hypothermia?
I'd be guessing if I then don't.
Don't guess.
Mm-hmm.
When the defendant was speaking to the first responder, the woman, were you near?
Yes.
Did you hear or do you remember the defendant saying anything to the first responder?
Yes.
What did she say?
She told the first responder, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
When she told the first responder, I hit him, how did you react?
I was like startled, kind of like, what are you saying? What are you talking about?
Did you say anything to the defendant?
I think after the second or third time she was saying it, I was like, Karen, like, what are you saying?
Why were you trying to interrupt her?
Because I thought she was just talking crazy, and I'm saying, why is she saying she hit him?
Were you trying to look out for her?
Yeah.
Sustained. I'll strike it. You can ask it differently.
What was your motivation for trying to interrupt the defendant making the statements to the first responder?
Karen was hysterical, irrational, kind of.
I'll move on.
Okay.
After you made the search at the defendant's request for an inquiry regarding hypothermia, did you have a chance to speak to the officers further?
Yes.
Did they ask you to do anything or go anywhere?
Yes. Officer Lank asked me to go into my sister's house and to wake them up.
And your sister's name again?
My sister, Nicole.
And that is the house you were in the night before?
Yes.
And after you spoke to the officer, they requested you go in to speak to your sister, did you?
Yes.
Was there any directive on what you should speak to your sister about?
No.
After the officers asked you to go into the house, did you?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember what door you went through?
Yes, I went through the front door.
Was the door locked?
Yes.
How did you get in?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said, was it unlocked?
No, I asked if it was locked.
Oh, sorry. It was unlocked.
As you're approaching the house, were there any lights on?
No.
Was it dark?
Yes.
Any sign of any movement inside the house before you went in?
No.
Take us through walking through the front door. What happens?
So I went in the front door. I opened the door. I walked up the stairs into their hallway, and then I think I knocked on their door.
Bedroom door?
Their bedroom door. And then I opened the door. I went in, and I walked over to the bed, and I was like, Brian, Nicole. Because I was in a position where I felt like the world was going on around me, so much was happening, but I also was aware that I was just about to wake up two people that are sound asleep, and they're going to see me standing over their bed and be startled, wondering, what am I doing here?
So what happens?
So it took a minute or two, and then Brian woke up, and he immediately was like startled and was like, Jennifer, what's going on? What are you doing? And then I believe I tried the best I could to say what was going on. I think I said, we found John.
You don't need to describe
Okay.
again, but I want to know their reaction and your interaction with your sister and Brian Albert.
They woke up startled and confused.
Did you have a conversation with them?
Yes.
How long was that conversation?
Brief. They got up, got dressed. I spoke to them.
And where did you go and where did they go?
Then all three of us went down the stairs.
The upstairs to the downstairs?
Upstairs to downstairs,
And
yes.
upstairs is the second level, is downstairs the first level?
Yes.
As you come down the stairs, can you see the front door?
Yes.
Is there anybody in the house at that point?
I saw Officer Lank.
In the house?
Yes.
Do you know if he had been invited in?
I have no idea.
When you came down the stairs and saw Officer Lank, where was your sister and Brian Albert?
They were walking with me down the stairs.
And did you see whether or not the officer spoke with your sister and your brother?
He did.
Brother-in-law? I'm sorry.
He did, yes.
Were you there during that conversation?
No.
How long was that conversation, do you know?
Not sure.
Where did you go when the officer was speaking to your sister and your brother-in-law inside their home?
I was standing at the front doorway, and then my husband, Matt, had just arrived.
What happened next?
I started talking to Matt, and almost immediately Officer Lang came, got Matt, and asked if he could talk to him outside.